I want to make a small little wood box, but just because it's small doesn't mean we can't make it look, really fancy, classy, whatever, awesome. So I've got lots of different pieces of wood here, some different types of walnut, some wingate, I don't know. I did find this piece of walnut that I really like. This is some air-dried walnut. It's got some cool colors in it. I really like the grain. I think that might work out pretty well. I think I'll go over to the bandsaw, slice off a piece of this, then go over to the table saw, cut it to its final length. This is my work piece. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna rip it down the middle of it. So I'm gonna take this one piece, turn it into 2 pieces. Then I'm gonna take those 2 pieces, turn them into 4 pieces. And that's gonna give me a wraparound grain. Trust me, it'll work, watch. I got my pieces cut. Now, whenever I'm putting together a wood box, which I make quite a bit of, I think about, is there an extra feature I can add to this or a technique I haven't used before? So I want to push my skills forward. And whenever I'm looking for that idea, I head over to today's sponsor, Woodworkers Guild of America. Woodworkers Guild of America is your online resource for woodworking instructions, ideas, and information. True story, I plan to install a specific type of hinge for this box, and they can be a little bit tricky. So I mapped out in my head the exact technique I plan to use. Then I went over to Woodworkers Guild of America to see what they had on it. And of course, they had a video on these types of hinges because they have videos on everything, it seems. This helped to validate my technique. So I know that whenever I get to that part of the project, I'm gonna nail it. This was before it was decided that this project was actually gonna be sponsored by Woodworkers Guild of America. I did that on my own, without the sponsorship. I challenge you to go look at the videos they have on box making and then say that you're not inspired. Want to make continuous grain? Woodworkers Guild of America. How about utilizing highly figured veneer for box lids? Woodworkers Guild of America. How about different types of joinery? Miter joints, box joints, dovetail joints. You guessed it, Woodworkers Guild of America. They got you covered. That's why I'm excited to say that they have a special deal going on. There's a link down in the video description. The first 1,000 of you that go down there and click on that link, you're going to get 1 year's premium membership to Woodworkers Guild of America for only $1.49. This is for new members only. I'm telling you, you are not going to regret it. They are a wealth of information. So thank you to Woodworkers Guild of America for sponsoring this video. Now, check out this grain. Here are my 4 pieces. You can see, look at the grain flowing all the way through, but check it out. If I could take this piece, move it over on this one, it's like magic. It just keeps going, like forever. Okay, time to cut miter joints on the ends of these. Miter joints look good, so I'm gonna glue this up. And for glue, I haven't used high glue in a long time. I used to use this all the time for walnut. It hides well, it cleans up easy. So I'm gonna bust this out, and I'm not gonna use clamps. I mean, this is a tiny little box and the miters are really tight, so I'll just use painter's tape. I cleaned up the inside, a combination of sandpaper and card scrapers, and then I went ahead and took the tape off the outside, sanded that down, and I'm telling you what, I am digging that wraparound grain. You can look at those corners. Whew. Now that I have the whole thing sanded, I'm looking at it and going, that's a little bit bigger than what I'm thinking. I want to make it shorter. So I'm gonna go over to the saw, cut this down a little bit more, and then figure out the top and the bottom. So I better just go ahead and start sanding some boards up for those. For something like this, I think I'm gonna keep those pretty thin. I got a thin piece of walnut. This came from the same board as the sides, so that's gonna be the top of my box. And then I've got this here. This is dark chocolate something. It's not ebony, it's not wingate, it's something super dark. That's gonna be the bottom. It's gonna give me kind of a cool look, maybe like a little shadow line there. So I'm gonna cut these down so they're closer to this size and then glue them on top and the bottom. Got glue on the bottom too, not both on top. Doesn't make any sense. Looks pretty good. So now I need to cut this dude in half. All right, I'm totally digging this. Now it's time to install hinges. Now for hinges, I'm gonna go with these little guys. Look at these. These are cute little bitty barrel hinges. They're microscopic. They're also a little bit difficult to install. So what I'm gonna do is drill 2 holes in the bottom and 2 holes in the top, obviously for the hinges, but I also have to make sure that I chamfer that back edge. Now, what I find is I'll drill the holes first, then I'll chamfer it. I know some people do the opposite way. The reason why I don't is because sometimes the drill bit can deflect just a bit. Instead of getting a straight hole, it kind of just slides down that miter. I don't want to have that. I want to try to get these aligned perfectly, and I'm just going to install them with some CA glue and make sure that they open and close properly, because otherwise, well, this thing ain't going to work. I got the barrel hinges installed and I sanded the perimeter, and that is a gorgeous little box. Now that I have this thing assembled, I'm thinking magnets, right? Everything could use magnets. So I've got some little rare earth magnets. I'm gonna drill corners, holes in the corners of the lid and of the base. That way this thing snaps together. Now my magnets are 3mm. Well, fortunately I do have some metric drill bits, so they fit really tight. So I got a 3mm drill bit, just over the drill press, drill some quick holes, super glue these things in, and hey, I got magnets installed. The box looks great. Now, I could just stop here and sand it down, give it its final sanding, put some finish on it, call it a day. But instead, I'm gonna add this. It's a replica of a Norse coin from the 10th century. I found some high resolution images online, and then I made a vector file of the main features that I liked. I have a brass rod, so I just cut the end of it off, and essentially that gave me a coin blank. I went over to the CNC and engraved the image. I don't have a whole lot of experience engraving brass, so I really enjoyed this. This was a whole new learning experience for me. And after I figured it all out, it wasn't really that difficult, so I made some extra ones just because. It looks a little bit too shiny and new. So I took some files, rounded over the edges, knocked down some spots, trying to give it a weathered, worn look, and then started working on the patina. You can patina brass in lots of different ways. You could use vinegar and salt, that works great. You could just use salt water, but that takes a little bit more time. Ammonia works, so does heat, or you can simply buy a product. There's products out there that are made just to patina brass. The last step though was added just a little touch of black paint in some of the deepest areas, knocked it back with some steel wool, and there you go, I got a coin. So my plan is to glue this right into the front of the box, and I think that's gonna be pretty awesome looking. I threw a few coats of lacquer on this thing and I called it done. I like the barrel hinges, it just gives it a nice little touch. And I dig that walnut with that black, ebony, dark chocolate base thing. Whatever that board is again. I'm glad I went with the coin on the front. I think this box would be beautiful without something like that, but hey, it's always nice to throw in a little extra element and it pushed my skills forward. I know a whole lot more about brass engraving than I did before the start of this project. One of my favorite touches is the wraparound grain. It's subtle. You may not even notice it until you pick it up, until you look around, and then you go, wow, hey, that's pretty cool. It even has wraparound grain from the front onto the top. Yeah, this might be a perfect size gift project. It's small, so you could put it into a stocking, and it doesn't take a whole lot of material, so it's pretty cheap to make, really. If you want to make it, I'll put a link down in the video description to project plans you could download, and if you do, shoot me some pictures. I love seeing pictures of the stuff you guys make, and I often put them in the newsletter I send out every week. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you to everyone over on Patreon for supporting me and supporting the channel. And to meet again, get in your shop and build something awesome.